Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to cover how to kind of organize and show and pull up summary statistics in JMP using Tabulate. In hindsight, probably should have covered this sooner, but we all learn as we get older. So in this video we're going to learn how do we make a summary table in JMP, particularly so we can see quantitative values of means and standard deviation. And then how can we export that table to, say, Sheets or somewhere else where we can manipulate it, and then maybe get it into a Word document. So I have here the some sample data from one of our recent labs, and I'm just going to pull this into JMP. So I'm going to put this on my clipboard. Go over to my JMP window, bam, make a new data table, click that, edit, paste with column name. Now, by default, these are not stacked, so I need to make these neat. You'll also notice that these three, only one of them is numeric continuous. The other two are nominal, which means they're probably character data, which means someone somewhere put something in here that doesn't belong. So I'm just going to take these, I'm going to quick standardize them to make them all the same data type, because if they're not numeric continuous, JMP won't let me stack them. Technically, JMP won't let me stack them because they're different. So now I'm going to stack these, stack column, bam, that's going to make one table with a whole bunch of labels and all the data now is in one spot. I'm just going to delete this column, go to this data. This is our water mass in grams, hopefully. Apply that, and we're good. I'm also going to get rid of these columns because I don't need them. So ideally, you've gone through, you've made some kind of visual summary of this. So we might have our water mass here, have our pipette down here, and then we have these broken up by volume maybe. And we do that, we put the dots on there, we turn on the, where is my item turn on? We turn on this error bar, standard deviation, there we go, check that. We make this nice. I'm now shifting towards, I like monochrome with dark dots and then fat lines. There we go. So we have some kind of data sheet here. Maybe we take it the next step further. We add some reference points to these. What do we measure? We measure one, right? And maybe we'll make these dashed lines so that they're distinct from the origin. All right, great, beautiful. Have our graph, we turn off whatever, quick detour. But now we want to talk about this. We want to think a little more quantitatively. Okay, which of these are better at doing whatever? We need to find out what are the actual means and standard deviations here. We could do that in Sheets. We could probably do some kind of average if thing. We'd still need the stack data. But we're in JMP. We already have this ready to go. So we're going to use this Tabulate button. And we can access Tabulate here. If you're on Windows, if you're on Mac, you have to go up to your top bar, hit Analyze, go to Tabulate. Tabulate is exactly like Graph Builder, but with tables instead of graphs. You could do this dialog option, which makes this more like fit y by x, but we'll do the interactive table since it's pretty straightforward. So I want to have, say, I like my tables tall. I'm going to have a water mass column. I'm going to have my volume here, and then pay close attention. I'm going to drag this over. I could replace volume, or if I drag to either side of volume, I can put it on the left or the right. I'm going to put it on the right of volume. And now I have kind of broken up my pipettes by their volumes and grouped them by their volumes. Now my statistic here doesn't make sense. I really don't care about the sum total of these because that doesn't tell me anything. Instead, I'm going to drag my mean over. I could drag it here. I'm going to replace my sum up here, and then I'm going to drag over my standard deviation. Now, as you can probably, hopefully predict, I have way too many sig figs over here. I don't need what I believe is 10 here, so I'm going to click this change format button. I'm going to tell them I want to use the same decimal format, a fixed number of decimals, and I'm going to go with I think 4 decimals. I think our balances read to 4. I'm going to hit set format, and there we go. Now I have a table. I'm going to hit done, and bam. Now if I'm lazy, I could do file export. I could save this as an image, and I could put that into a Google Doc somewhere. Um, Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do red arrow. I'm going to say make this into a data table. Once this is a data table, I can just select all my data by clicking and dragging across those headers, edit, copy with column names, and now I can pull up some sheet somewhere and put them in there. So if I pull up, say, my sample data sheet here, I can just boom. Now I have a table. This is a kind of weird extra step because if I were to put this directly from jump into a Word doc or something or Google Doc, unfortunately, it's going to paste it as plain text, which is not great. If I knew the dimensions here, I think I could put a table in. So what do I have? I have a 8 by 4 table. Let's try see how well that works. That was not what I wanted. Table, 8 rows, 4 cross. So that didn't go well either. So instead, I'm going to put it into sheets, and then I can copy the sheets and put this in here, and now I have a real table. I can format this. I can do what I want. So maybe I want to have nice clean headers. Make this black, give it white font, make it bold, center it. All these good manipulations that you can do in Sheets. Maybe I want my table to be centered in the middle of the column, so I'm going to do my table alignment center. I'm going to do my cell alignment middle. And then for all of these, I'm also going to put these here. Maybe I don't care for this thing splitting up like that. Maybe I don't like this wording here, so just call this mean water mass. Standard deviation. I could even just call this mean probably and have a good table title. Um, Again, we do want good table titles, so I would call this like table 1, masses, and standard deviations of water aliquots at station 1 or whatever this we want to call this. Um, so that's the gist of what I wanted to get to in this video. One other thing that might be worth mentioning is when we're making data like this, um, it might be better to add this extra column up here, merge this, and just get rid of water mass, put that there, and then have this be mean versus standard deviation. I don't know what to do about these. Let's just make these white so they're not visible or transparent. I don't know how to get rid of their borders. There we go. There we go. That's nice. Okay. I might even like get rid of these extra ones or just leave them all as mills. I don't love the value ordering. It would have been good to put that down there, but these are all changes you can make after the fact. This is how we get table in here. And then one last piece of information. We do the mean standard deviation. Another value that can often be useful when we're making these comparisons is what we call the 95% confidence interval. If I go back to my graph, I think there's actually a button for that, but it's still not exactly what we want. Let's see, yeah, you can do a confidence interval on here. Unfortunately, you can't do the confidence interval in Tabulate from what I know. Like none of these statistics are that, and that's because this doesn't um, account for that level of statistic in here. We can only do things that are really direct uh, playing with the table. So instead, maybe we want to go to our fit y by x. We're going to do our water mass. We're going to split these up by pipette. And I'm going to use this by column to split my analysis further. So it's going to compare all my water masses between pipettes, but it's going to do it separately for each individual volume. Now I get out this little odd looking thing, and one of these statistics here will help us. I think it's this one. Let's try the means. And there we go, yeah. And so when I do a by analysis, it only applies my arrow to one of these unless I hold, I want to say shift. So if I tell it to shift, turn that off. Let's try it now. Nope. All right, I'm just going to click all my buttons. I have Control Shift Alt held down, and still not doing it. Let's just try Control. There we go. So Control click isn't doing it. Whatever. I'll just manually do these. I know there's a way to do it. So I have these confidence intervals. I could include these if I want to. Statistically, we may or may not go into much depth on these. These are basically saying I can be 95% sure that my pipette is dispensing a volume between 9.74 and 9.86 when it's trying to deliver 10. Likewise, I can say that for these ones. So like by the confidence interval, the P1000 is probably doing the best job dispensing this. If I look at the standard deviation, it looks pretty happy too. And then down here, the P1000 we're actually confident isn't dispensing 1,000, which is kind of interesting. Uh, but you could bring these values onto your table over here. If you want to be a little more formal, there's a button for it. Because we have this weird group thing, if you right click these, you can do this make combined data table and it'll pull out all of these values. And now you have all your 95% confidence intervals and something that you can copy paste. So that's about the extent of tabulate and graphing and texting wizardry that we'll do. And this will get you feasibly every statistic we'll use, every summary statistic. So with that, have a good day and I will see you in the next video.